You're spending too much time overthinking. You realize that, right? Yeah, you, sitting there, gnawing at your fingertips, replaying every little sentence they threw at you like it's some grand tragedy, waiting on people who were never going to come back, bleeding yourself dry for ghosts who don't even recall your name. And for what? Approval, validation, closure. Let me clue you in, kid. They don't care. They never have. But here you are, letting their words take up residence in your mind, rent-free, acting like you owe them something. That's the real joke. That's the punchline you keep missing. They're not tossing and turning over you. Oh no, they've moved on. Forgotten even chuckling at how simple it was to watch you crumble, begging for some scrap of basic human decency. A half-hearted apology. But you're still here, stuck in this pathetic cycle, crafting arguments you'll never get to use, lying awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering what you did wrong, when the truth is, you didn't do anything wrong. The issue was never you. It was that you had the nerve to care in a world that thrives on indifference. So why do you care? Why do you let their words squat in your head? They called you useless, weak, a burden, and you bought into it. That's the real tragedy here. You handed them the dagger and watched them twist it, hoping maybe, just maybe, they'd stop. If you could just prove you weren't what they said, but they won't. That's not how this game goes. People build you up just to watch you break, because broken things are easier to manipulate. They want to see if you'll flinch, if their words still cut deep enough to make you bleed. So stay indifferent. Nothing makes them unravel faster than realizing their words are just empty bullets against iron skin. Take a look around you. This world is full of parasites, pretending to be saints, frauds masquerading as heroes. And the harder you try to prove yourself, the tighter their grip gets. They whisper sugar-coated lies and call it love. They leave and call it growth. They tear you apart and call it destiny. They'll set you on fire and call it a lesson, and you just stand there smiling through the flames, convincing yourself that the burn isn't so bad. Newsflash. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to slam the door and never look back. You don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them explanations. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. See, they crave a reaction. That's the whole trick. The more you scream, the wider their grin gets. Silence is a threat. They can't decode a weapon. They have no defense against. Nothing sends people into a spiral faster than realizing they have no sway over your emotions. It eats them alive, kid. They start second-guessing everything. Did you finally see through the lies they spoon-fed you? Are you planning something? Or worse, have you stopped caring entirely? That's their biggest nightmare. Listen, kid. Life's cruel fairy tales are just bedtime lies for the deluded. The people who wronged you aren't going to wake up one day drowning in regret. They won't send you letters begging for forgiveness, confessing their faults, and even if they did, what difference would it make? Would it mend your heart? Would it turn back time, make you whole again? No, all you'd have is a handful of hollow words and the same scars you've been hiding under your sleeve. So you stop waiting for apologies. You stop trying to revive dead situations. You uproot people who only thrive in your darkness. And you plant something new, something entirely your own. You walk past them with a smirk that says, I don't even see you, because at the end of the day, that's their worst fear, being forgotten. They can't handle the thought that you could actually move on, that you could exist without their validation. That's why they fight to keep you looking backward. Misery loves company. But don't you dare RSVP. You've got to understand, kid, some people base their entire existence on making others feel small. They are empty inside, just hollow shells, filled with insecurity and half-baked ambition. The only way they feel important is by standing on your shattered remains. They call it confidence, but it's just a disguise held together by jealousy and fear. So let them talk. Let them weave their little stories. Let them pretend they are better than you. Stay indifferent. Nothing dismantles arrogance faster than being ignored. You think strength is shouting back, proving them wrong, making them eat their words, but real strength is quiet. It's the kind that lets people think they've won, just so you don't have to waste energy justifying yourself. It's walking away from the argument knowing you could have dismantled them if you wanted to. It's not a fight if you're the only one swinging. See, let them exhaust themselves throwing punches at shadows. Save your energy for something that actually matters. You've got two choices, kid. Spend your life chasing revenge, or spend it chasing success. The ones who did you wrong, they're not even in the race. They're too busy lurking in the background, waiting for you to stumble, hoping for a slip-up. Just so they can feel a little less miserable about their own wasted lives, but every step forward you take is a slap in their face. Every breath you take without them is a reminder that you never needed them, and that is what eats them alive. So stay unbothered, kid. Smile that cold smile that makes them question if they ever knew you at all. Speak less, move in silence, let them wonder, let them stress. Because the fire they thought would consume you was the very thing that forged you into something stronger. Because when you finally stop caring, truly stop caring, they lose all their power, their words turn to dust, their schemes collapse, and all they have left is the bitter taste of their own irrelevance. Keep moving, keep building, keep thriving, stay indifferent. It haunts them. They tell you to forgive and forget. Right, let it go, be the bigger person. What they don't tell you is that forgiveness isn't about setting them free, it's about setting yourself free. You see, some people think forgiveness is a green light to do it all again. They mistake kindness for frailty, silence for surrender. But here's the thing. You don't forgive them. Because they deserve it, you forgive them. So you can cut the chains and move on without ever looking back. It's not about giving them peace. It's about claiming your own. But don't twist it. Forgetting isn't part of the bargain. No. You remember every lesson they made you learn the hard way. Every blade they twisted into your back. Every sweet-talking lie they murmured with a grin. You remember, but you don't react. You keep those memories not out of spite, but as proof of everything you survived. Because survival is the best revenge. Waking up every day, still breathing, still moving forward, that's what they can't handle. You were supposed to be broken, right, curled up in a corner, drowning in self-pity, cursing the world for how things played out. That's what they expected. But here you are walking through the fire, untouched, eyes cold and mouth shut. And that silence, it's deafening. It's the loudest sound they've ever heard. See, the ones who wronged you, they thrive on your reaction. That's their measure of power. Make you scream, make you doubt yourself, make you second-guess your worth. That's the game. They'll push every button just to watch you snap. But the moment you stop responding, that's when they panic. They send those fake apologies, those just checking-in messages, not out of care, but to see if they still own a piece of your mind. They want to see if the blade they left in your back still makes you bleed. And that's when you really smile. Not a soft one, but that cold, merciless grin that says you don't even register enough to hate because indifference cuts deeper than anger. When they realize they don't even exist in your world anymore, that's when their world crumbles. You're not the prisoner here, kid. They are trapped in their own guilt, their own deception, their own emptiness. The only way they feel alive is by dragging others down into the abyss with them. So let them sink. You've got no obligation to save the ones who handed you the anchor in the first place. Funny how the ones who preach loyalty the loudest are the first to abandon ship when the storm hits. They swear they'd stand by you until it actually requires sacrifice. Then suddenly it's all excuses and banishing acts. But that's fine, their betrayal was the wake-up call you never knew you needed. Pain has a way of doing that. It stings, it scars, but it also clears the fog, strips away the illusions, shows you who's truly in your corner and who was just there for the ride. So thank them. Not out loud, of course. Your silence is thanks enough. But in your mind, thank them for revealing their true selves. Before you wasted any more time, thank them for teaching you the value of solitude. The power in standing alone, because once you've walked through the fire by yourself, you stop fearing the dark. You stop needing anyone to hold your hand. The loneliest people are always the strongest. Funny. You've got to stop breathing life into dead situations, stop visiting graves where the corpses buried themselves. Some things aren't meant to be fixed. Some bridges should stay burned. Some people belong in the past. You keep trying to salvage things that were built to collapse. You keep waiting for explanations that will never arrive. Some people don't say sorry because they regret their actions. They apologize because they don't want to be the villain. There's a difference, kid, and the sooner you understand that, the less power they'll have over you. So cut the strings, unclench your fists. The world is full of liars, traitors, and backstabbers. There's no point in pretending otherwise. The trick isn't avoiding pain. It's learning how to bleed without begging for bandages. It's wearing your scars like armor, letting the pain shape you instead of breaking you. It's staying detached, keeping on, letting them choke on their own regrets while you build something beautiful from the wreckage they left behind. They're watching, you know. Always watching, checking to see if you've crumbled yet, if the weight of everything they did has finally crushed you. They ask about you, stalk your shadow, pick apart every move you make, hoping to find cracks. That's how small they are, how hollow their lives have become, reduced to spectating yours. And you don't have to do anything, just exist. That alone drives them insane. So keep existing, keep breathing, keep making it look effortless. Smile that empty smile, speak only when necessary. Move like you have nothing to prove, because you don't. Their opinions hold no weight here. Their words are just noise. You've survived worse, haven't you? Dragged yourself through darker nights and deeper pits, watched everything crumble, and still found a way to claw yourself out of the ruins. So, what's a few whispers, a few side eyes, a few knives in the back to someone who's already died 1,000 times and come back stronger each time? They want you to break, to snap, to lash out, to lose control. Don't give them that satisfaction. Stay unmoved. Keep your heart cold and your hands clean. Let them lie, let them hate, let them rot in the mess they made. Your silence is punishment enough. Your indifference is revenge enough. You don't need to prove anything to people who will never see your worth. Their opinions are counterfeit. Their judgments are rusted blades, dull, worthless. Walk past them with your head high, your eyes forward. Ignore the whispers, the glances, the pathetic little attempts to get a reaction. The real power is in the quiet. The real power is in smiling when they expect you to explode, in walking away when they think you'll start a war. The real power is knowing you've already won just by refusing to play their games. Stay unbothered, kid. It eats them alive. You've got to stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. No matter how many times you lay it all out, they'll twist your words, warp your intentions, create a version of you that fits their narrative. It's never been about the truth for them. It's about control, about keeping you boxed in, labeled as selfish, cruel, ungrateful. They need you to play the villain so they can keep pretending to be the victim. And the more you defend yourself, the guiltier you look. So stop justifying yourself to people who've already made up their minds. You're not guilty until proven innocent. You don't owe confessions for crimes you didn't commit. Let them talk. Let them spread their poison. The truth doesn't change just because it's outnumbered. The real ones will see through the smoke. And the rest, they were never in your corner to begin with. You keep making this mistake, thinking that if you just say the right words, show enough kindness, swallow enough pride, they'll finally see you for who you are. But they don't want the real you. They want a scapegoat, a punching bag, someone to blame when their reflection shows them something they don't like. They push you, provoke you, paint you as the monster while sharpening their own knives behind their back. And if you react, well, that just proves them right, doesn't it? But here's the thing about monsters, kid. They don't hide. They don't lose sleep over what they've done. If you were what they say, they'd be the ones running, not you. They wouldn't dare say half of what they do if they actually thought you were dangerous. People talk big when they think you won't fight back. So let them talk. Let them think you're weak. Nothing is more satisfying than watching them choke on their arrogance when they realize you were just playing along. They want the old you, the one who apologized for existing, bent over backward to keep the peace, sacrificed everything just to be liked. But that version of you is long gone, buried deep, and they're too blind to read the headstone. They show up with flowers for a ghost and wonder why you don't answer the door. That's what drives them insane, that they can't hurt someone who doesn't exist anymore. Some people are only loyal when they need something. Their love has expiration dates. Their friendship comes with conditions. They switch sides the moment the tides turn and call it growth. But growth isn't cutting people off without explanation. It isn't leaving when things get tough and crawling back when the storm passes. Growth is staying, fighting, building. What they call growth is just cowardice dressed up in pretty words. So stop mourning the ones who left when you stopped being useful. Stop rereading old messages, revisiting locked doors and darkened rooms. Some stories have to end for new ones to begin. Let them go. Let the bridges burn. You can't build a future from the scraps of the past. You can't grow flowers in a graveyard and expect them to bloom. They say time heals all wounds, but that's a lie people tell themselves to sleep at night. Time doesn't heal anything. It just teaches you how to carry the pain. The scars don't fade, they just stop bleeding. The memories don't disappear, they just stop haunting your every step. Healing isn't forgetting, it's remembering without falling apart. It's carrying the weight without letting it crush you. It's learning to smile with cracked lips, to laugh with a throat full of thorns. They want to see you break because it justifies what they did. If you crumble, they get to say, "See, we were right." That's why they keep pushing, keep spreading lies, hoping one of them sticks. But every breath you take without them is proof that they were wrong. That's why they keep coming back. Because they can't stand the idea that you're doing better without them, that their absence didn't destroy you, that you've started to rebuild. So let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them whisper your name like a curse while you turn it into a crown. Stay unbothered. Nothing burns like indifference. Nothing makes them spiral faster than realizing you've moved on without leaving them a map. Keep your eyes forward and your heart cold. You've wasted enough time watering dead plants hoping they'll bloom. It's time to rip them out by the roots and plant something real. Something that grows toward the light instead of reaching back into the dark. You owe it to yourself to stop being loyal to people who used your love like currency, to stop returning to places where your worth was a question instead of an answer. They'll keep testing you, keep pushing, keep hoping for a reaction. And you'll keep walking, keep breathing, keep surviving. Your silence is a blade sharper than any word. Your indifference is a fire that burns hotter than any rage. You don't need revenge. You don't need closure. The fact that they still whisper your name when you've long stopped speaking theirs is proof enough of who truly won. Stay unbothered, kid. It drives them crazy that you're still theirs to shatter, and yet you'll keep pushing forward without a backward glance. You'll keep building, keep breathing, keep turning their daggers into crowns. Because in the end, nothing unsettles them more than realizing they no longer haunt you. So stay unbothered, kid. It drives them insane. You're gonna lose people along the way. That's just part of the journey. Friends, family, lovers, they'll leave, betray, or fade into the background when the shadows grow too heavy. But that's how you learn who's real and who's just passing through. Let them go. Let them talk. At the end of the day, the only person who has to live with you is you. So make sure the one staring back in the mirror is someone you respect. Someone who didn't break just to make others comfortable. People will call you cold, heartless, selfish. Let them. It's better to be called heartless than to keep giving it away to those who only want to watch it bleed. Better to be called selfish than to sacrifice your sanity for people who never truly cared about you. You weren't placed here to be their savior or their scapegoat. You were put here to endure, to thrive, to build a world where their poison can't reach. So let them whisper, let them scream. In the end, it's the silence of the wolves that drowns out the howling of the sheep. They'll return one day, mark my words. When the fake laughter turns to fangs, when the distractions lose their sparkle, they'll remember you. They'll remember the loyalty, the trust, the way you would have set fire to the world just to keep them warm. But by then, you'll be long gone. And that will be their karma, to realize too late that what they once took for granted is the very thing they'll never find again. So keep walking, and don't even think about looking back. They deserve to live with the ghosts they created. Forgive, but never forget, not for them, but for yourself, so you don't rot from within, so the bitterness doesn't consume you. But don't mistake forgiveness for weakness. Forgive them, but stay unbothered. Prove that even their worst wasn't enough to destroy you. That's the real revenge, the kind that needs no words, no weapon, just silence and indifference, because the opposite of love isn't hate. It's nothing. And nothing is exactly what they deserve from you. They think they've won because you didn't strike back. Let them believe it. Sometimes the best way to win a war is to let them think they already conquered. But the truth is, you're playing a different game, a long game, one where peace is worth more than proving a point, where your silence speaks louder than any scream. You're not running, you're rebuilding. And when you rise, you'll do it quietly, without warning, until the world has no choice but to acknowledge the strength of a king who doesn't need a throne. They'll pretend they don't miss you. They'll laugh louder, smile brighter, post their perfect little lives for everyone to see. But late at night, when the filters fade, and the likes don't fill the void, they'll remember. The truth always finds a way in. when the noise dies down, and by then you'll be too far gone to hear their regrets, too focused on creating the life they swore you'd never have. That's the beauty of moving in silence. By the time they realize what you've built, it's already too late to stop it. Pain transforms people. It fortifies them, sharpens them, teaches them who to trust and who to walk away from. And if you use it well, it becomes your shield, your fire, your reason to rise again. Let the pain mold you, not break you. Let it remind you of what you'll never tolerate again. Wear your scars like medals. Don't conceal the darkness they left behind, because in a world this ruthless, the ones who make it aren't the soft-hearted, they're the battle-worn, the unshaken, the ones who learn to grin with bloodied teeth. So keep moving. Keep staying unbothered. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them sit and wait for your downfall. And when they finally understand that you're not breaking, that their words are just echoes in the storm, you'll be too far ahead for them to reach. You're not just surviving, you're evolving into something beyond their comprehension. A ghost with a heartbeat. A legend in the making, and by then, it won't matter what they think, because the silence you left behind will haunt them louder than any words ever could.